All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm gonna move over a titch. Okay. Hello. So my name is Kaltin, and I am alone today. I was trying to get one of our tech artists on the stream to talk about all the cool, amazing things he's been doing. One of which you're gonna see here in just a few minutes. But it's just me today. So I'm here. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. So we're here to give you an update. So a lot of really, really, really cool things have happened with strange creatures recently. So I'm actually just gonna get right into the game to show you one of the biggest things that we've had that's changed recently. And so I'm gonna go here, and the answer to this question is Rosie. So our last creature is finally animated. There she is. There's our Rosie girl. So the tech artist I wanted to bring onto the stream today, Spencer, couldn't be here. I'm very sad because holy crap, he's done such a great job with these characters. With oh, you know, let me turn on this. There we go. He has done such a great job with these characters. Like, we absolutely adore them. And like the personality that he's able to give to them. So I'm going to just really quickly progress through the game on Titch to show you the next thing that we have done for our game. So this whole area out here kind of got a small overhaul. So some of the feedback that we'd been receiving from players is that this area felt really claustrophobic when everybody got in. So we went back to drawing boards a little bit and just widened up the space, lengthened out the space, and made it feel a little bit more roomy. As well as we've kind of added some consistency to the level. So example, like these doors, one was right here last time, the other one was where it's at. So it all kind of like just felt awkward. So we've kind of cleaned that up a little bit. As well as like this staircase. Oh no, my thing went away. This staircase used to be a little bit awkward because you couldn't walk up one of the sides. I think you could only get up top if that bridge was down on this side. And so we've added pathways on both. I do need to still lengthen those up. It still is a bit tight on those sides, but step in the right direction. So that was one big update that we've had. And then finally, the last, probably most significant update that we had to do is in regards to what we talked about last time. So last time I mentioned that our game is running really well on our computers, but we don't know how it's going to run well on older computers. And some small testing that we've done has been, it has some issues on some really old machines. And so we started to look at optimization. So Reeve, who you guys met last week, has been working on a way to load our levels in such a way that not everything is loaded all at once, to help reduce that cost on the machines. So what we've done is every level now is, so actually this whole thing is the only thing that's loaded. If I was to phase through this wall, I would fall into the great dark oblivion below me. But what happens now is when I hit this button, that door closes, that whole level back there now despawns and goes away. And at the same time, this level, and I'll get to this in a moment. Oh no, I crashed it. And that level now comes into play. So let me get back there really fast. That's a new crash bug that we need to figure out why it happened. I think I know why it happened. But anyway, so yeah, so the game is a lot more streamlined with how the computer loads the levels. Which is really great for us because it makes it a lot easier for the computers to handle. And also, it kind of gives us more ways to isolate what's causing crashes and what's causing bugs. So I know that when I do this, and I go in here, that bug that I just caused is only getting caused by stuff in this room and on, right? It's not... I understand. But yeah, so it's only getting caused by stuff in that room. So actually what's happening here is Rosie ate something from an older room that in theory does not exist anymore. So it's causing the game to crash because it doesn't know what to spit up. But yeah, it lets us isolate bugs a lot easier and get those worked out. So really quick, let me just get back there, and I will not spit out. Actually, I'm just going to do this now so I don't accidentally crash it again later. So yeah, we have our level loader in, which is really, really cool. Causing some new issues that obviously we have to fix. Yeah, so see how it's not crashing here anymore. So this is a new room that Raywant, our assistant game designer, assistant level designer, assistant producer, all that fun jazz, has been working on. And this essentially is a giant playground for our players just to have fun and play out and test out their characters. So that first room that we were in is a little bit of a small puzzle. Oh, I'm really heavy, that's why those aren't going down. Is a small puzzle to allow players to kind of get comfortable with the control scheme, but here's where we really want our characters to start testing out what they can do and the extent of the things they can do. We've also added small areas that are... Look at that teleporter. Oh, I haven't seen this before. So small areas that only certain characters can handle and deal with. So let me get back out of here and I can show you what I mean by that. So, for example, this wall. Rosie might be able to grab a couple coins on this wall, right? I think I can grab this the bottom 4. And if I stack some boxes, maybe I can get to that one up there. But getting up those really high ones probably isn't going to work. But Scout, on the other hand, has a really easy time doing that, right? And we have some basic like training stuff here where maybe we have some platforming that players can do if they want, if they feel so inclined. But this is pretty much a giant playground where we want players just to play around with their characters, figure out what they can do, figure out what advantages and disadvantages there are to certain characters. We've added a few more little aspects to the game, so we have these little trampolines. Just the idea of letting players play. These catapults, I'm not quite sure how they work. I gotta figure it out, but they look really fun. So here's an example of this is an area that only Ernest can collect those coins. There's no way I can collect anything back there with Rosie without respawning. Lots of boxes to play with. We have these treadmills that work like our conveyor belt. Essentially, this is recycling old assets and old mechanics and putting them to use in brand new, fun and entertaining ways. Ooh, dark room. That we can just play with. So this is also an experiment for us to figure out, hey, we have that mechanic of the conveyor belt, which we'll see here in a minute. How else can we do that? Oh, we got treadmills. Or we can start making puzzles that revolve around that. Some new things have been developed for this room, like the seesaws were brand new, the catapults are brand new, but just it's giving us more tools in our toolbox, just to play around with. So this room also does not have a straightforward objective that the other rooms have, right? This doesn't have a path to get out. So players can at any point in time leave this room and progress with the game through this elevator. But what we've done is we're looking at how many players are currently in the game, and we won't let players progress until everyone's ready to go. So that if players are still playing around, they can still play around. Now we have to figure out a way to stop players from griefing. Like we all have that one friend who will just for the heck of it will sit in this room and stay here forever to not let players progress. So we gotta figure out a way to stop that. Like if the majority of the players or something is there, we just have to figure it out. So move on. So here's the cargo bay, which you guys have seen a few times. So I'm not gonna dwell too much in here. I'm just gonna show you some new things. Excuse me. And then we'll move on. So we have this new visual effect to show when a battery is in use and when it's not. So just really cleaning up when that goes there. And then also we have the train, our updated train model that was done by Caitlin McLaughlin, one of our artists. So our other one, some feedback we got is it was really, really stuffy, really, really congested. Just it didn't feel good to be in that kind of space. So we've opened it up a lot and kind of have some multiple moving parts so players know what is going on. We have this battery that I'll get to in just a minute that we've updated. I think I showed you guys this last week, but I didn't really get to see all aspects of it. So as soon as this opens up for me, Caitlin also did this battery, the model and texture for it. The emissives are a little bit off right now, just because I need to update them with some implementation stuff. But we're really, really happy with how this battery looks too. It uses the same color language and the same color scheme as these other batteries. You're going to notice like a lot of similarities. So we want players to recognize that, oh, that's a battery to use, right? So let's get in here, grab this thing. Bring that back down, please. Bring that back up, please. No, I want more. Okay. Shoot. Wait for a couple more things right here. Please. Get on this. Oh, I can eat that. I'm not supposed to be able to eat that, I don't think. So, pretend you didn't see that. Let me get this up here now. And push this over here. Also, we heard you. We realized the sound effects sounded weird. We have updated. At least for the push-pull. Also, shout out, sounds done by Caitlin. All animal voices is done by Caitlin. Cool, on to the next room. So you guys saw this room a little bit last week. So I'm going to show you a couple of updates with it in terms of functionality and all that jazz. So we have new models for these like animal med bay beds. I believe Caitlin, and if you're in the chat, Caitlin, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I believe she has made now some like side tables, like heart monitor type things that go on the sides of these type, really to make this kind of the idea of this is a medical bay. We've also replaced this structure here. So this is currently our like our kind of outlier. We're like, we don't know what this is. So Caitlin worked with Rewant, who designed this room, to flesh out what this structure itself is and how to fix it. So that you guys should see here pretty shortly too. I believe that is completed but not textured, right? Again, Caitlin, feel free to correct me if I am wrong on that front. I never actually, after jumping up here, never hit this button. And I don't think I hit this button. Yep, okay. And we're also working on the readability of these things. Because these should not break if I touch them by myself, but if I hit them with a box, they break. And a lot of players don't know, haven't been able to understand that. And so we're really working on trying to figure out how to increase the readability of that. Bear with us. If you also, desk is totally complete, just not implemented. Awesome. So you guys will see that next time. But if you guys have any ideas about how to make this kind of stuff more readable, the glass is only breakable by certain objects, please feel free. Talk to us here on the stream, talk to us on our YouTube channel. We also have, we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, feel free to contact us 100% and let us know your thoughts if you have any ideas for that. And the last bit, and then this bit is also currently being reworked, this jumping puzzle. So this is why I'm going to go into a little bit of a level design, game design spiel here. It's why it's really important to nail down the metrics of your game early. And we, for the most part, did that. We really focused in on metrics and like how far Rosie can spit things, how far can Arlo stretch his head, how far can Scout climb, all that jazz. But one thing that we changed about halfway through the process was how high characters could jump. And the reason we did that is we used to not be able to jump up on these desks right here. We usually only got about where Rosie's head is where I could jump. And so it didn't really feel good to us and to players that like to get up on a table, I had to like stack a box here, jump on the box, jump on the table. Especially in that first room where we've got all that breakable stuff on the container, on the tables that we want players to be able to collect. It didn't feel good, so players never collected it. So we adjusted our jump height of our characters so now I can jump up on these tables. But what happened when we did that is this kind of small jumping puzzle that I want built no longer is challenging in any way, shape, or form, because I can bypass this first one like I did earlier completely, just jump up here, and then that's it, right? And so we're currently working on making a new version of this jumping puzzle so that it is a little bit more of a challenge. And I actually think I might have made this a little bit more difficult for me, but I forgot. Oh no, get up here before it goes away. Oh no, no, no! No, get me up there. Button. Okay, because that button I still need to jump towards. But anyway, so that's why it's like really important to really like lock in and figure out your metrics early. And now, granted, that's not to say that things don't change. Our metrics, things should change if they don't feel good. But it's really important to playtest early, playtest often, and get that kind of stuff locked in, figured out early. And then our last little update we have for you guys is we have reworked the boss fight at the end of this for a few different reasons. We got the same feedback about this room that we had about the earlier room, which was it felt really cramped and really claustrophobic. And so I took our level, put it into Maya, expanded it out, and started thinking about what about this room is unique, and what do we need to fix, and like what are our problems. So the first issue was claustrophobic. So I really expanded this room out. And then the other thing is I originally did all the coding for this room. I'm not a programmer. I do what's called producer programming. So it's really janky. And it worked for what we needed at the moment. We wanted to get this room implemented and test it often and start testing really quickly. And so we did producer programming to get this rolling fast. And because of which I had lots of duplicate things that I didn't need. I had lots of broken things that were just like one-offs for this room, which is never a good idea. And now, because my engineers, Luis and Bayreeve, are so fantastic, our existing mechanics now work for this room. So to give you an example, when I put a battery in here, as you guys have seen in the past, these turrets come down and turn on. So the platform moves, the turrets turn on, and it turns on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 objects. Our old blueprints, our original blueprints for how this battery worked, that could not happen. It did not function that way. So Bayreeve and Luis altered that blueprint to allow us to do that, because we started to see multiple scenarios within the game where that would be a useful thing, to be able to turn on multiple things and different things, right? So I've got this platform uses the same functionality as our door, and then those turrets are different than the door. So now it can turn on multiple different things, as well as so multiple things and different things, which it couldn't do before, and now it can do. So when I stick this in here, you see now the platform's moving, turrets turning on, and it looks a lot cleaner than our old one. Like before, we had that weird blue thing that moved up, and the turrets were already on, and so just some readability. So now instead of that blue thing that moves up, now these turrets actually turn on. So it makes more sense. Like, why would these turrets always be firing? That doesn't make sense. Now we have it make sense that they're turning on in a reaction to what the players are doing. So now we'll grab that other battery and do this, and I can show you the next new implement. I broke the respawn earlier, so I'm trying to be really careful and not die, so I don't break it again. Spit. So this is all the same, right? So playtest early, playtest often. A feedback we got is when I did this last time, those two keys, or keycard cubes, spawned below it and dropped down. No one had any idea those were there. They had to wander to find those things and went, I don't understand, I'm confused about what I'm supposed to be doing. So what we've done, or what we did, is we iterated on our boss design, and to help give some uniformity to this room, we added this other area that now has these key cards, and this opens as a reaction to damaging the core. So one thing we're about to implement here pretty soon as well is voice lines. So we're going to talk about, and so because one of the issues we've been having is onboarding and readability. And so we want to put some voice lines to help guide the player of what's happening. We have a narrative arc that we have developed, but without these voice lines, we haven't been able to tell it to the players. So we want to be able to get those in soon. So an example of that will be when we hit this core, right? It can trigger what's like core is malfunctioning, and maybe like a self-destruct sequence for this lab we're in. And so we need these key cards and able to escape and able to get out, right? So that makes sense that like if you have something that's volatile in a workplace, you want to give your workers the ability to get out if something was to go wrong. And so now we have a way to like do that. And so those key cards make more sense than two things that spawn when I hit the core, right? That doesn't make sense. Why would that thing spawn? So I've got the blue card first. So let's get this in here. Doop. Doop. And we'll stick that in there. Actually, gotta flip that. Oopsies. And come on, Rosie. Come on, Rosie. Work with me. Dang it. Hold on. This might take me a second. Spit. There we go. And that's currently where the game is. Now, let's talk about some things going forward. So, that is currently our whole game loop. We are not currently planning on adding any more rooms to the game. So that's what you've been seeing now is kind of our full structure. That's not to say there won't be things, right? If we, in a few weeks, decide we have some bandwidth, we've been talking to with the team about possibly designing like full rooms that are specific to each character. I'm actually going to mute this really quick. Full rooms that are only accomplished by specific characters, so that like if somebody is playing by themselves, they play Ernest. Then having a room that Ernest really excels in, maybe that's their tutorial room, so it shifts out that first thing. But so that's a lot of things we've been talking about. Stuff like that may come down the pipeline, but right now our minimum viable product is in the game. So now I want to talk to you guys about next steps and some timeline stuff. So let me get out of here. Okay, so we have Strange Creatures is on Steam. We talked about this last week, okay? So last week we gave a little bit of false information because we've had to change our plan. What I mean by that is we talked about last week of the game going into early access next Friday the 13th. GDC got canceled, as many of you know, due to coronavirus stuff. And so the team and I sat down and discussed if the 13th was still when we wanted to release the game. And we decided to push that back a week for a couple reasons. First one being is next week is spring break for us here at the University of Utah. And we decided that it would be a really good idea and helpful for the team to be able to take that break and use it to work on their own personal portfolios, classwork, job applications, things like that. And we felt it was important to give them that time and not come in over the time that's designated as their break. So that was reason one. And then reason two is it didn't make sense to us to push the game out because we wanted to get the game on the 13th so we could shut off at GDC. Well, now GDC isn't happening anymore, so it didn't make sense, so we pushed it back that week. So next week there will be a stream. There may not be a ton different. The big difference is we're going to have a lot of new art assets, but gameplay-wise, probably not a lot is going to change. Then, on the 20th, Friday, March 20th, is when we're releasing this game on early access on Steam, so you guys will all be able to play it. And we're planning a special stream. I don't have details for you yet. The idea is we want to bring in members of the team to come play the game on stream from Steam itself. So that'll be the 20th. So if you haven't done so already, we're on Steam. It's called Strange Creatures. Feel free to add us to your wish list if you haven't. Also, if you're curious about why we're doing early access, we have a write-up, what the game is, all that kind of fun stuff. So the last thing I want to do before I sign off is we are not the only team here at the University of Utah who has been really hard at work getting the games out. 4 other games are being developed here, and 3 of which are on Steam right now. So I wanted to take a minute and show you guys their games on Steam. And if you have time, please wishlist them as well. They've been working their butts off to get these games out, and they're phenomenal games. So let's do that right now. So first we went back. I'm just going to read what they say about their game, because I cannot do it justice. So We Went Back is a sci-fi time-looping horror game located on an abandoned lunar station. Explore, deduce, and unleash terror in order to find a way out. We Went Back is also competing in the Intel competition that was supposed to happen at GDC, and now they're doing an online thing. I don't know what the details on that are, but they're still representing EAE in that, and I'm really, really proud of their game. Looks really good. They have a very, very talented team, as you can see by these screenshots. And I believe they're going into early access on April 3rd. So add them. Like I said, this game looks phenomenal. It's such a pretty game. And they've been putting their heart and soul into it. Next, we have Arc Attack by Swishfish Games. And Arc Attack is you're stranded on a desert planet. You must explore and gather resources to craft buildings so that Tack can find and repair his spaceship. So this is very Minecraft-esque, Raft-esque, where it's a resource management collection game. It's really, really cool, really, really fun. Let's go on for one moment. We saw this game yesterday, and holy crap, this game got massive. There's lots of islands to explore, and this is a base builder dream through and through. And they also just got recently, and if anybody from Architects in this chat, please link this. They just recently got featured in a article that was like upcoming hidden gems on Steam or something like that. So really, really cool, exciting stuff. And then finally, the last game that's in early access soon is called Maya of the Desert. So Maya of the Desert is a 3D action-adventure game where you use earth-manipulating powers or geomancy to overcome obstacles, solve puzzles, and defeat foes. Elevate pillars of earth and bend rocks to your will as Maya, a desert wanderer, and as she returns life to the world around her. Giant 3D puzzle platformer game using geomancy. Again, very much like Architect, this game is massive. They've got, I think they were saying that they've got 40 minutes to an hour of planned gameplay, of core gameplay, and then like 20 minutes of extra side stuff you can do. Yeah, this game is really, really cool. It's got a really fun, unique cel-shaded style, and then their world is just gymongous. And then the last game isn't currently on Steam yet. I'm not sure what their plans are, but we'll definitely feature them on a stream when we have time when it's up. So, like I said, these are the games that everybody in EA is currently working on, and they're all incredible. So please go and wishlist them if you haven't done so already. These guys have been putting their heart and soul, guys and gals have been putting their heart and soul into these games, and it's really showing off, like they're really paying off. These games look fantastic. So lastly, I'm just going to go back to our page. Strange Creatures. So yeah, please go and wishlist these games. Thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, next week we're going to be doing an update. It's probably going to be a shorter one because we don't have any new gameplay or new like areas to show off. It'll be a lot of art asset implementation. So we will be doing that on Friday the 13th. Scary. As soon as I know when that will be, we will definitely be posting that on our social media. And also let me go to catfiddlegames.com really quick. So Cat Fiddle Games, we're going to be putting a link to our Steam page here as well. We've got all but the last 2 videos up here, so if you want to track our dev diaries, they're all up here for you guys. And the last 2 will be going up here very, very shortly. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, we really, really, really do appreciate it. We are looking forward to getting your guys' feedback on the game, and we're really looking forward to sharing it with you on March 20th. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.